I'd have to go back to the menudo, the cow stomach. Although my son, the missionary, we call the missionaries we train, we call them our sons. I guess the sometime after we were together, he had goat head, which was a huge delicacy. But I kind of doubt you'll get that. The most memorable one, there was a time we heard some machine guns going off, and so we ducked behind a car, and a few blocks away there were a couple of police trucks hammering down on another car, and we did hear that there were some deaths from that, and I don't know if there were bad guys chasing bad guys or good guys chasing bad guys or what was going on, but yeah, that was definitely one of the more memorable experiences. A lot of people studying Spanish will have probably heard this one before, but there's this word embarazado, which most people would think like it means embarrassing, right? Especially if you saw it written, you would think it means embarrassing, but it actually means pregnant. So you would never want to say estoy embarazado thinking you're saying I'm embarrassed, because actually you'd be saying I'm pregnant. And so yeah, that's not a good thing. I actually don't know anybody who made that mistake, but if you're just barely learning Spanish, then just a heads up there. That the atonement applies to me as well. We were teaching it. We were teaching the atonement and seeing other people's lives being blessed. But I was very hard on myself for mistakes that I would make during the mission or before the mission. Obviously, obedience is important, and I invite and hope that every beginning missionary will enter the mission with the idea that they should be obedient. However, being human beings, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect. You'll occasionally slip. You'll accidentally, like, I don't know, your alarm clock won't work, and so you actually accidentally sleep like 5 minutes or something like that. Again, we're not perfect. And so just remember that the atonement applies to you just as much as it applies to us, or as to the people we're teaching. And another thing is just the basic: enjoy every moment, find joy in the journey. You can be happy on your mission or not. And I learned to find or look for that happiness, and it was definitely the best 2 years of my life so far. Besides learning Spanish, I feel like I'm a much more effective teacher. I'm actually an instructor in our elders quorum, and I'm always applying things I'm always applying principles that I use in my lessons on the mission to my lessons that I teach now in my quorum. You'll definitely gain leadership responsibilities, and so that'll help you learn how to lead, especially how to learn to lead with love. There were a couple of days in Monterrey when it flooded. You were walking through the street and there's a good 6 inches of water. But I've heard of missionaries wading in 3 to 4 feet of water in our mission as well, so you may get a bit of that. I'd mentioned earlier the canicula, when it was a period of about 40 days when the weather would get to be about 110 degrees. Mexico, study Spanish. There's a website I used called conjuguemos.com. That's conjuemos.com. It was super helpful. I learned a lot of vocab and grammar using that website. And I had taken Spanish in high school as well, and so that was helpful. So make sure you pay attention to your language classes. And again, just do all you can to avoid temptation, because it'll become a little more strong before the mission. Stay active. Keep doing the basic things that you've always taught. And sorry, I also meant like active, like stay productive. Keep filling your time with wholesome activities. Keep serving others. Definitely keep reading the scriptures and praying, and going to the temple and to church regularly.